Hello again. In this video, I want to go over just a few things about breathing. Breathing seems to be one of those things I think oftentimes we kind of look over a little bit with some of our kiddos that have muscle imbalances, but it's really an important piece because if we can't get enough oxygen into our body, that's the fuel for our muscles. So if a kid has breathing issues or is a very shallow breather, sometimes that kind of needs to be addressed first, or we need to incorporate that with our plans too, in order to give their muscles the optimal ability to perform at their best. So I just want to go over a few of these things. Some of our kiddos that go to speech therapy, they probably are familiar with these, but I'm going to go over them quickly and just give you some tips on some things for breathing. So I have some items here. Some of the classic ones are the cotton ball and a straw, and just getting a child to blow the cotton ball across the table. You could put a cup at the end or something to kind of have them blow that into. The progression for that is then once they get really good with a cotton ball is using something like a light little toy or something. I have a little spider ring here. So that's kind of just needs a little more force to get across the table. And then eventually maybe getting to a ball of some sort. This takes just a little more breath support to kind of get the ball moving. So that's kind of the progression for blowing things on a table to kind of get that breath support going. Another good thing is blow toys. So those party blowers I really like a lot, because the thing with the party blowers where they blow the toy out, it really gets them to do a sustained blowing. So a lot of times our kids are really good at short breaths, but what they really struggle with is getting those long breaths, those really long ones. So that's where I really like harmonicas, because that way you can kind of hear if they're blowing in and out or how long they're blowing. So it's like, oh, hold the note as long as you can. Go. So that really gets that really sustained blowing. The thing with breathing is sometimes it's not so much getting the air in, but it's getting the excess air out of our body. So if we can't get all the air out of our lungs, or at least the healthy air, the carbon dioxide, if we can't get that out, there's no room to bring fresh air in. So that's really the key sometimes with breathing when we're trying to improve a child's breathing, is to really try and get that extra air out of their lungs. So nice, long, sustained breaths are really good for that. And then another thing is, I'm sure some of you have seen these, is the bubble monsters. So putting some soap in a bowl and then blowing. Sometimes the problem with that is if your child is not aware enough to not suck that in, that could be a problem. So sometimes something like milk. I have milk in here, and it doesn't make as big as bubbles, but certainly can work, at least make some bubbles for them. So as you can see, they can make still some nice bubbles with that, and that way if they happen to take a blow or suck some of it in, it's not something that's going to make them not enjoy that or get sick from it. Another thing too, as long as we're talking blowing things, I have some things for your hands, as long as we're talking about cotton balls and stuff, is if you have little air pumps, sometimes these are really good for working on hand work. So getting a child to use a little air pump to kind of move a cotton ball along, to kind of work on some of that fine motor, and then work on switching hands. So they kind of have to do it with both hands. So if you're working on those pre-writing skills, that's kind of a good exercise to do. And then finally, one of the big things, and it's really tough for kids to work on, is we need our diaphragm to help us bring air in and out. So our diaphragm is really a muscle that's on the bottom of our lungs that's domed. It's actually domed a little more on our right side usually than our left. That's for another tape, but that's because we have big organs that are under our right one. But a lot of times our children have issues flattening and then bringing it back up to that dome to really push that air out. So, and that's just a really tough muscle to find exercises to work. But a good one that does work, that diaphragm, is certainly the big long breaths will help, but is using a balloon. A balloon gives natural resistance to the diaphragm to work it. So just big deep breaths. To get your child to blow up a balloon. Now, I know most children, unless they're a little bit older, probably are not able to blow up a balloon, or some of our guys with lower muscle tone can't. So a couple of things you can do is, I find that normally bigger balloons, so a lot of times your party balloons will come in 9-inch and 12-inch sizes. Normally the 12-inch sizes are a little bit bigger, or a little bit easier to blow up at first. If not, really stretch them out really good before they blow them up. Or if it's your child and you're okay sharing some saliva with them, blow it up for them first, and then let the air out and then have them blow it up. They do online have valves that you can put on that you can use to blow up a balloon, and then that way you can take it off and then give it to your child. But sometimes stretching the balloon out really well at first will just give them the optimal chance to blowing it up. And it's that initial blow that's always the hardest. And then really giving them cues for that lip closure. A lot of times it's the lip closure that's a problem. But that's definitely, if they are able to blow up a balloon, that's really a great way to work that diaphragm and help us with our breath support and to get air into our lungs so they can the oxygen can feed our muscles. We'll talk to you soon.